and welcome to the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club. With 4 race starts, we're going to start with our Category 4 riders, then 3, 2 and 1. Our riders lined up in yellow, that is our Category 1 riders. In green, our Category 2. In blue, Category 3. And Category 4 in red. On the way down the straight here, these riders are wiser to the all-porting action. And that means, as they head off down the straight, the bunch are right on their heels.
You have to be able to change your plans and to change your thoughts on the move. And often we see a road captain and that road captain rethinking and replanning what is going to happen in that team because of what other teams and other riders are executing at the time. Then Dakowitz is the rider on the front here in Category 2. Custom Mare in 2, pushing on the entire pack coming back together. That is a huge group at 20.6 kilometers into this race. We have the 2 riders, well, the 2 categories on our screen. Category 1 on the left, Jones and Norrin, the 2 riders leading that race. Phil Graves on the right hand side of your screen leading the Category 2 race.
Because at the moment, Caro, Kalman and Acker have a gap of 3 seconds to Abello, who is losing time. He's in the red zone. He's trying to come across gap, but it is taking him a while, and that's not a good sign.
Simon Acker, he sees the UCI banner first. Simon Acker is going to take the win in the Category 4 race. He's broken free from the group. Simon Acker takes the win.
So hello and welcome to the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club. It's our men's race, and wherever you are out and around the globe, I hope we're going to bring you some great racing. I'm pretty certain of that, since we managed to do it week in, week out, or rather our riders managed to produce it week in, week out. Putting the words to the action, it's myself, Matt Payne, and the one and only
Emma Martin.
It's nice to be
I've
back
had
in
2
the studio.
coffees and some ice cream between now and the women's race, so I am rolling and ready for our riders to head to Belgium, Matt.
Yes, so you have been warned. If you're listening in, Emma is caffeinated up to the eyeballs, which means that apart from bouncing off the acoustic treatment in the studio, she's going to be bouncing up and down and around the course.
Well, hey, 492 metres of climbing today across the 45-kilometre race in Belgium, and you can see that profile in front of you. They come out for a very, very flat first 6 kilometres with a Ghent City sprint in there at 300 metres, just checking who's in the pack. Then they face the climbs. The Korte Keer, the longest climb at 3.9 kilometres, is the first one of those. Then they go up the Valkenberg, then the Eichenberg climb, which comes after the Eichenberg hill, which isn't classified today. Then the stretch to the Quermont and the Patenberg finish. Now, it's not all over after the Patenberg, because there is an additional climb between the finish of the Patenberg at 43.3 kilometres and that finish line at 45 kilometres. It's going to be fast, it's going to be furious, and it is going to be a great race to watch today. And we've got some phenomenal men on the start line, Matt.
We have some amazing men on the start line who are going to be absolutely nameless. I'm really looking forward to seeing how they approach climb number 1, because that always, for me, sort of sets the scene for our riders who are out there, whether in Category 1 in yellow, Category 2 in green, Category 3 in blue, or in red. It's Category 4 riders. 1 minute 10 to go on the clock for Category 4. The first riders away, and you'll see from those time splits, it's 5 minutes between 4 and 3, 10 minutes between 3 and 2, and then 5 minutes between 2 and 1. So, first off, our Category 4 riders. They're going to be hitting the start. We've got the Level Up Racing team, the one and only Ola Warren and Luke Allport, the guys behind not only the fast start, but also the GC competition as well, which we are going to be giving you a few details on. We've got the Anzacs team, David Winfield leading them. The Power Squad, they've got Strength in Death, Dromard, Rooney, Kalangad and Rego. Upcycled, well, they've brought out the big guns of Zanaska, Schoberg, Lloyd and Mayard. And WTBR, MyWhoosh Brazil, we've got Osma Vass, Marcus Brito leading that squad, and a cast of thousands behind as well, pretty much. It's a bit like the old Ben Hur's 1960s movies. There's that many there. Let's see how they get on.
Well, with less than 10 seconds to go, the riders down in the start pen. They're warmed up and they are ready. Belgium awaits. Away go Category 4. They are up and underway for qualifier race number 3 for April on the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club. Well, as our 43 riders swing out onto the course, this for me, Matt, is absolutely wide open today because Acker, Kalman and Caro, 3 riders who have been dominant this month so far in Category 4, have all progressed to Category 3 this week. In fact, only 3 riders left on the start sheets today who have made a top 5 position this month. So Category 4, it is as wide open as possible for those top 5 places today. Allport and Warren, Winfield and Rooney, Callangad and Orego, Neville Ross, McMurtry, Dadson, Ochoa, Casagrande, Tortoretto, Pino Montoya, Driscoll, Newman and Connell. The door is wide open. Who is going to step through?
Oh, it's. Do you know what? I always love the start of Belgium because it is so many questions, and we always get surprised by the answers. And I think one of the great things about Category 4, because it is one of those categories where we've got a real mix of ages and riders and types of rider. I think almost in some ways more so the if you go to Category 1, they're all elite riders. You know, they're all super fit, super fast. They all know exactly what they're doing. In Category 4, you've got people who want to have a go a bit more. That's my general gut feel. And I absolutely love it. I think that's where we're going to see that. Luke Allport at the moment on the front, the man who has set us the unenviable task of keeping up with his entry of the stats. I don't know how fast this man can type. It's almost as quick as his attacks off the front. He's a bit quiet today. Maybe he's used all his energy up, creating the general classification overall. It is unofficial. I hasten to say this is not a MyWhoosh authorized general classification. It is purely a for fun at the moment.
Well,
GC, but do you know what? I absolutely love it.
I think he's quiet at the moment. He's down in the pain cave. We can see him at the moment. But this is the type of course that's going to suit him down to the ground. And I mentioned that top spot was absolutely wide open today. I think Luke Allport is going to Allport through to that top spot today. I'm going with an early prediction. No pressure, Luke, at all. But the door is open. The stage is set. Category 4 are rolling. Do you know what? They're 1.7 kilometres into this course. The first 6 kilometres are flat. They've been rolling at over 40 kilometres an hour so far in a tight group. Someone is going to poke their front wheel out of that group on the first climb, the Cortakia. And I think the stage is set for a great Category 4 race today.
Yes, will it be Luke Allport? I don't know. He's 46th overall on the in Category 4 on the standings. In his GC category standings, he's not fluked it at all. But as the sprint comes in, big kick coming, Daniel Valencia, one of our regular riders at the front, giving it beans when it comes to the sprint. But will he continue to put in through? He's already backed off the pace here. They've gone through. Will they take a group? It's put a stretch on the group already, Emma. The sprints are weird, aren't they, sometimes, I think. This first sprint in Belgium, it is. Because we've 6K to the first hill. For me, it's sometimes you see a move, sometimes you don't. Now, Luke Allport decides to go. We've had the sprint. Do you know what? I'm going to keep on going. So he's now attacked through from the sprint, and now he's putting the pressure on.
It's a sneaky move.
It's not sneaky. It's smart. I like it. I think that is how you should ride. Let's see if it's going to stick. Category 4 are on the way through the sprint. Category 3 are our next riders to take to the start line here today. We've got some big teams in here. Italian Espresso are as big as they come. They might be small in size, but they pack a caffeinated punch. It's Caligula. It is Incaleri. It is Barlett and Cusimano. Level Racing, well, they actually have the most riders in here with Kirk, Cirillo, Rimborg, Tuica and Besedi. Now, the Mighty Ducks squad, now they're going to be led by Simon Acker. That man definitely has wings. And we are going to see if the team, which is Gerardo Montoya, can answer the if question. If, what, where, when, how, well, maybe now is the time to find out. We're in with the man who got relegated from his own team this morning to take him out of the level racing. Cy Bradley is the man we're following from the start in Category 3. Away we go. Our riders up and moving as we set off down this start. Who will be able to make it stick at the finish? We have 45 kilometres, 492 metres of ascent, and more bergs and climbs than you could shake a stick at. It may be the day of Liège-Bastogne-Liège where the world expects Tadej Pogačar to be the hot favourite given the amount of climbing. Not sure he can do a 60k breakaway or an 80k breakaway, but we will see. Today, 45k is the limit of anybody's breakaway if they go from the gun.
Well, going from the gun today in Category 3 may not be possible, but I do think we'll see a very early split in the race today. Now, Category 3, 51 riders on the start sheets today. On top of the teams, Diduch, Polgarin, Sanchez, Goddell, Young, Elos. Caro's up from Cat 4. Henry Yeese is here. Jack Staples, Squilari, Cansala, Connell, Anderson, Giuliano. But for me, Matt, the big story of Category 3, whereas Category 4, the big story was it's wide open. Category 3, the big story for me today is we've had 2 qualifying rounds already. Matthias Kalman is on our screen at the moment. He's one of the riders progressed from Cat 4. Category 3, 2 qualifier rounds, 5 top spots in each qualifier, which gives 10 podium steps overall. 10 different riders have stepped into those spots so far this month. Will Kalman step up from Cat 4 to take a top 5 today in Category 3? Well, can we make it 15 different riders on the top spot this month in Category 3? The strength and depth of the Category 3 race, but we talk about it week in, week out, and it's just evidenced by the number of riders taking podiums. Well, Category 3 motoring at the moment, 40 kilometres an hour. Simon Acker, another one of those riders who has come up this month. Now, Acker has had 2 wins in Category 4 this month so far, progressing to Category 3. And this is an interesting course to progress on because the climbs are not long. They are steep. The first climb, the Courtiquier, does kick to 17%, but the longest climb at 3.9 kilometres is indeed the Courtiquier. The rest of the climbs, well, are around 1.5 kilometres in length. So he's not going to need that ability to climb for 13 kilometres in one go, but it is going to dig deep. And how long can Acker stay in there? This is going to be really interesting for me because I know he's a very strong rider, like Matthias Kalman as well. So Acker and Kalman, both those 2 riders on our screens today, having progressed from Cat 4. I am really looking forward to this today.
I think it's going to be really interesting to see how this rolls out. We're coming into town now, just starting to see that push on the way through here. Now, will we see that move over the top? We have to wait to find out. Acker, one of our really, really strong riders. Will they be the rider who makes it count here today? I can't wait to see. We will soon find out, though. Who's it going to be? Who will be the race victor today? Cirillo really kicking on here. Valencia's time through the sprint at 21.919. Cirillo goes for 22.527. As we see the man behind the World of SRC, Henry Yeese at the moment on the attack here in Category 3. Good to see fastest time. He's gone through sprinting from the back to the front here. Good to see Henry in action. And good to see him on the bike as well. Hi, Henry. I'm giving him a wave. I had the pleasure of having a chat with Henry on the phone. We do love to actually. I'm a great person for actually talking. Funny that, with people rather than just emailing, and a really lovely conversation with Henry. And it was great to catch up with him on the way in and round. And he's on tea or coffee? We will find out, I'm sure, at some point. I'm hoping it's coffee. We will see.
Well, a coffee will make his legs go faster, but nobody's legs are going faster at the moment than Cy Bradley's because he's leading this out as the moment as they turn around the corner. He's putting some serious power down, 4.8 watts per kilo at the moment on the front of this Category 3 race. And do you know what? there's not really a response coming from behind at the moment. He's got a 3-second gap and a continue to push on. Now, don't underestimate the camaraderie in the pack that could focus around Bradley. Part and parcel of that level racing squad, whilst not part and parcel of the level racing team in category 3 today, those teammates are all going to be keeping an eye out for him. So Bradley putting a huge push on over the bridge and continuing to keep it going. I think he's going to go into the bottom of the quarter gear in the lead in category 3. Well, going into the quarter gear in the lead in category 4 is Luke Allport. Allport still pushing at the front of that category 4 race. Calangad responding now. Rusinek as well behind. And Neville Ross. Well, Neville Ross for me is one of the favourites today on this course, Matt.
Ooh, I love it when you put it out there so early. It's like, yeah, he's one of our favourites. Well, we will see. This climb is really interesting, isn't it? With this 2-stage kick in it. Part 1, the drop, and then the rise that follows it. And if you can see top right-hand side of your screen, you can see the very summit of part 1 coming up. We then drop, and it kicks again, and then there's a sharp turn. At the moment, Kalangad really working well on the front here. He's got Allport in front of him, Dromard, Rusinek, Neville, Ross, Valencia, Holtz, all chasing Warren in the mix. They don't want to let the gap open up. Kalangad doing a great job here, sits back down, but you know what, he's really on the limit, I think, at the moment. All these riders, there's such a solid race field. There's big gaps. There's no gaps in that. It's strung out, but the gaps haven't opened yet. And we're 3/4 of the way up part 1. We've got this left turn. We've got the right turn. We've got the left and right zigzag. Look how steep it is.
16% at the moment. This is the steepest section on the quarter gear at the moment, and it's going to get easier from now, because I say easier, it's 13%, but it's been 17. So this corner now so steep, but they're going to go over the brow of the quarter gear. They're going to drop down into the dell, and then it kicks again before you get to the polka dot banner. Now, Andrew Neville Ross up and out of the saddle, staying with this front group. Winfield is here, Holtz is here, Valencia is here, Neville Ross is there, Dadson and Newman are there. Ola Warren is keeping close charge of the front of this group. The pack now starting to split, but it's going to be a big leading group, and there's going to be a number of very, very strong riders in the front section.
So really is breaking. We're seeing that split. We're seeing the gaps open. The gap will increase as they go over the top of the climb. Well, the gap has increased a little here. 9 seconds now between Sight and Bradley, doing an Allport off the front. Can he match up to the big man's power, the pace? We will see. Bradley has been on his international travels here, there, and blinking everywhere pretty much. Racking up the air miles, eating lots of airport meals, no doubt. We'll see whether that is a great fueling strategy and a great way to be ready for the Sunday Race Club. He's gone out early, and at the moment, I'm not sure whether I'd be flattered or insulted by the fact they've not chased hard enough yet to bring him back.
Well, I think there's a few people keeping the powder dry in that group at the moment, Pasade being one of them, you know, in and part and parcel of that level racing team. He will indeed know what the plan is today, and I bet there is a plan because I can't imagine there isn't. He's currently, look at that, pushing on and pushing hard, keeping mindful of the group and the pack. Bradley still out on the front. Bradley's going to see that polka dot banner of the quarter gear first.
And that's the way to work as a team. Send somebody down the road, make everybody else work hard, and your teammates can be in there. Now, whilst Bradley might be the man who was taken out of that team to give the other riders those 5 available spots, they had 6 initially, they got rid of the boss, and he's now gone down the road. We're going to see if that tactic's going to play out, because I'm sure they're all going to be working well together as we get ready to move into category 2. Now, penultimate race start here on MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club in qualifier number 3. The Road Warriors with Oya, Bjarhead and Von Haren up against TIG led by Kochikov. The Hitmen, the biggest numbers. They have a full squad of 5. Winfield, Krasnich, Spratt, Simmons and Graves. We have the UAE Falcons of Tenachi and Hamden. The Watt Colonels team, well, we've got Benedetti, Bengston and Daunt in from Wattage Wizards, as well as the Watt Colonels and X-Pro with Rodriguez. It is a who's who of riders, not just in there, but also in the rest of the race field. It's a huge race field in Category 2. This is my favourite race category. Sorry if you're in 1, 3 or 4, but it is, and that's because these guys really have it. Here we go. This is where it gets tough. We're out from the start, and we know with the size of this race field, with the quality of this race field, with the riders from so many nations, it's going to be a tough race today.
This is indeed our biggest race field of the Sunday Race Club today. 53 riders on the start sheets today. And, well, what can I say? Bert Kayen took the win last time on this course in Belgium, a course that really suits him, a real sprinter type of effort, able to put out big power for short periods, and it's the shorter climbs today that really pay off for Kayen. So he is here indeed on the start sheets. Davidson is here, Montoya, Filippo Quadrelli, Hassan Sultan, Ivo Sur. Betty is here. He's had a second place this month. Martin Mensa is here. Guarin, Millerstick, he's had a first. Linden is here. And of course, Peter, his dad, is here as well. Phenomenal racing last week from the family. Linden taking first spot. Peter, the dad, taking fourth. Great racing. Yuki is there as well. You can see him. He's up and on our screens at the moment, part and parcel of this leading group. Phenomenal to see him. Yep, Matt is waving back. Don't worry.
I'm loving the flag. I'm absolutely loving the Ugandan flag down the side there. It's absolutely brilliant. But that is one of the best setups going. It's definitely fantastic. Do you know what? I need to meet this man. I need to meet this man. This is. I'm loving it.
I
is
keep
just
trying
fantastic.
to remind Matt that esports and e-cycling is the one discipline where you can't walk around the paddock and meet everyone.
Oh, I know.
Unless they qualify for the World Championship.
Oh my goodness! Yes. That would be astounding. I wonder if Uganda are going to send a team to the Esports World Championships and what that allocation would be. We could work it out, actually, if we sat down and thought about it, but that would require far more brain pot. Anyway, will Cameron Winfield be there? Yes, we could get to see them. Make sure, if you're going to be there, I'm sure that if it's ticketed, it'll sell out. I'm sure everybody will want to be down to watch the riders in action. All our riders will want to be there.
Everybody who races a Sunday Race Cup should get a 10% discount on ticket sales to encourage them to come and watch.
Oh, that's way off piece of our script there. Oh, my goodness me. Right. Emma, by the way, Emma can't subsidise that personally, just so that you know at the moment it's not going to happen. However...
Could you imagine if, you're in the arena, you're waiting for the World Championship final to start, and you turn and chat to the person next to you, and you realise that it's a Category 3 rider you've been racing for months.
You can walk around with the badge. I race Sunday Race Club.
Category
Cat 3. I am. Do you know what? It'd be like one of those conventions for MyWhoosh races.
It'd be brilliant. A convention for MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club races.
Do you know, I knew it was dangerous saying that when Emma's had several coffees and ice cream in between. You can actually see a picture of it. I think Emma put it up, her refueling strategy. Was it on at Full Speed Events or at Biking_Emma?
No, it went out on at Biking_Emma on Instagram. My mid-morning refueling strategy is not just our racers who refuel, commentators do too.
Yes, maybe we might have to limit this, and I'm just waiting for the crash off the other side of all the sugar and the caffeine. But we will see if Emma's snoring by the time we get into the finish.
Never.
If you've been out racing, guys, you haven't done fast enough and aggressive enough racing. We will see. Right, 3 categories away. We're going to get our next category underway, and our latest delegates going into what is the Sunday Race Club for this week. Is going to be our Category 1 riders. Serious voice on now. Voice of God. We have our teams, the Coalition Alpha Jaw squad. Daniel Churek, David Talbot, Lionel Vajasin, Michael Kaminsky, and Ollie Jones. For Pain Toasted, Christoph Thiem, Jakob Bjorklund, and Mikael Plantero. The UAE clan team are represented by Michael Knudsen, Mr. X100, Pablo Bobovich, and SS. And Racing Shocks are sending their mystery man out there, aka I can't find him on my sheets. So they are your cast of thousands who are coming in, or should we say the people who are going to be in there for our teams. We will see who's going to take this out. Emma's going to run through the riders, the runners in a second, but let's get our riders underway.
Yeah, no runners here. Those are all doing the London Marathon at the moment. But 6 seconds on the countdown. We're in with Panizza. They are about to go. Away go, Category 1 on the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club. We are up and out with 492 metres of climbing across the Belgium course, facing Category 1 as they roll out, and they're up to 47 kilometres an hour in the first 200 metres. Now that is momentum and getting up to pace fast.
Absolutely key. Getting out with the group and stay in there. The speed of Category 1 is phenomenal. They're going to move down there faster than Emma, running for the ice cream and coffee in the mid-break between shows. These guys are super quick. They are the world's best, the best of the best. Who's going to be the best of the best today? Will it be the dominant team of Coalition Alpha Jaw? We have Lionel Vujasi, Michael Kaminsky, and Ollie Jones. Yes, I am waving at the camera yet again. It's something that I regularly seem to do to people. And the guys there, what I absolutely love, they've got the energy. Michael Kaminsky, and this is a man who goes out and wins for fun. He can wave at the camera whilst you are accelerating into Belgian course. It is incredible.
Well, indeed, they are an incredible squad. Coalition Alpha Jaw, Turek, Vujasin, Kaminsky and Jones have all had top 5 places this month. Turek taking a first, Vujasin a first and a second, Kaminsky a fifth and a second, and Jones a third and a fifth. They have been absolutely dominant this month, and for me, they are the team to beat in the final next week. So the question is, can Pain Toasted, can the UAE clan team, can any other squad do anything about them? Now, Johan Noren riding really strongly this month as well. He had a 4th place last week. Safra Zaidi always there or thereabouts. He's had a 3rd and a 4th. Van Elst has done really well on this course in the past, so expecting him to put in a great performance today. Che Holweiler in on the bike at the moment. You can just see him down on the screen. He's right up at the front. In fact, he's leading the pack at the moment.
So Che Holweiler, another of our regular riders at the front, alongside his countryman there. That's Jason Osborne, also riding today. The UAE clan squad, Mr. X100, Pablo Bobovich, SS and Michael Knudsen. I think this is a really interesting course for the UAE clan team. And we know that in the riders, SS, Mr. X100, Pablo Bobovich and Michael Knudsen, they've got a rider for pretty much every type of course. However, and it is a big however, they're big, strong riders. Mr. X100, Pablo Popovich, SS. Mr. X100 and SS, they do a lot of work, but they're not as suited to this very aggressive 16% to nothing to 16% to nothing. They want a long climb in comparison, I think, to suit their physiology. But they found a way to make it work by riding the platform and learning the platform. And I think it's going to be really interesting to see how they do that today, particularly as they've got Michael Knudsen and Pablo Popovich, and Popovich knows all about momentum.
Yeah, he does indeed. And one man going down the road at the moment is David Talbot. He's the member of the Coalition Alpha Jaw squad who's not had a top 5 place this month.
David, what are you doing? Come on.
Well, he's on the move already. Che Holweiler's gone with him. So is Bart Van den Eekhout. So 3 riders pushing on at the moment on the flat section. Now, we've seen this happen in some of the earlier starts. What is going on today? Attacks coming in before the climbs.
They are, and I think this is part of this learning the course, how a course is ridden before you get to the climb can influence it. When we come through here, we are seeing people, regular sprinters like Ruben Don, like Henry East up there, Khan Kane in there, Bert Kane, the riders that we know are going to kick and they're going to go through in that sprint. However, what we're also seeing is that we're seeing people using that as an attack point. We saw that with Allport going off the front there from the level racing squad. We're seeing that, and I think that's true in Category 1 as well, where we're seeing that big push, we're seeing that kick, and they're going on the offensive and they're using that early. And people are using this section. It might be 6K of flat, but that doesn't mean you can't influence what happens afterwards. And it's one of those key things. The faster that you can make it, the harder you make the racing. That suits certain riders. Mistakes 100 SS, going back to that previous thread. They are the sort of riders who want it hard from the gun. They do not want this to just sit at a really easy pace and then go hard, slow, hard, slow. They want it hard all the way.
Well, I'll tell you someone who is off the back at the moment of that Category 1 race, and that's Michael Knudsen.
Ooh.
So Knudsen is the rider off the back at the moment in Category 1. In Category 2, they are absolutely motoring. We've got 4 riders pushing on hard at the moment on the climb. Now make that 5. So Simmons, Graves, Spratt, Winfield and Gates are the riders pushing on here. Now they are on the Cortekia climb, and they are shortly about to hit the steep section. You can see it on the top right-hand corner of your screen. You can see that change coming up in the profile of this climb.
How many? It was 5. It's now more like 50 again.
Okay.
There was a gap there. Don't get me wrong.
I was going to say it can't be 50, but actually
disappeared.
It could be.
Yeah, it's a huge race. But it's come back together. And I was really impressed. So many things to go to here. Right, first of all, Category 2. Phil Graves is in here. Phil Graves is, as I understand it, on a training camp.
Yes, in a sunnier climes than his normal location.
Somewhere I've had the pleasure of going, which is Club de Santana. Why is he able to ride with the front here? If he's on a training camp, he should have been training harder. You know, Phil Graves should be out the back suffering today, surely. So that's in the Category 2. Just keeping a check on Juan Martin Mesa. I'm just trying to work out what the blue thing is. Emma, any ideas?
No idea.
If you could get your face closer to the screen, you wouldn't be able to tell any difference. Believe me, just like staring at the screen. You can just see him out. Well, he's certainly suffering there on his way up here. Mesa tucked in at the back of the group. But that was the thing in Category 2. I'm just going to very quickly dive back to Category 1, if I can, Emma. Talbot.
I'm not sure why you're asking me permission.
No, neither am I, but there you go. Talbot, David Talbot.
Yes.
I can't quite believe he hasn't had a top 5 this month because of the strength of that squad and his speed at the front. Do you think that is because he's just having a little dip in form, or do you think it's because of the way that squad rides to use their riders to set up other riders to take positions?
I definitely think the latter.
Okay. So you think it is
I think the squad deliberately choose their tactics, and they have a plan that they execute every week, and depending upon the form and the training of the riders involved.
Interesting. We will see. Now, taking a look at this group, we've got a kick on here from Vidal Mayer on the front. He's got Pablo Popovic for company, or is it the other way around? Popovic and Mayer, the 2 riders who are motoring the way down here. Interesting tactics here by the Brazilian, jumping in with the Norwegian rider Mayer. The group behind, well, they are going to be taking it a little bit steadier, but this is going to give Popovic and Mayer a run-in and a bit of a gap.
Yeah, MyWhoosh Brazil on social media, very active around the Brazilian participants on the Sunday Race Club. So do give them a follow, because it is really interesting to see that worldwide spread and what is going on in terms of the number of riders coming from different regions across the world and all coming together on the Sunday Race Club. Well, all coming together at the moment. Well, not quite, I tell you, because there's a rider down the road. This is the chasing group heading to the Cortekia.
Now, will they go on to the back of the group? The leaders, Mayer and Popovic, up the front here. Popovic is a dangerous rider. You should never, ever give Pablo Popovic any ground, because he will make the most of it, whatever that terrain. He really is a smart rider when it comes to that, and he's using that ground. And the other thing it's doing now is it means that everybody else now has to chase, because Popovic is up there and Mayer are up there. If you're not a teammate of Popovic and Mayer, then you're going to be going, well, let's better get after them. And the teammates of Popovic and Mayer are going to be going, I'm just going to sit here. I'm not going to take a turn on the front. No, I don't think so. Really interesting. They're at the base of the climb. They're on the way into the Cortekia. Category 2, right-hand side of your screen at 9.3 kilometers, are 600 meters off the top of the summit. But that is a long, long way on a Belgian climb. You can suffer a lot there. Ruben Dont, at the moment, a man who will know these climbs inside out. I'm sure he has seen the top elite riders as well as ridden up them. He's seen them all in action on here, the Quarter Kia. We are right coming towards the end, actually, of the North European Classics on the road season. And we're going to see how that plays out, I'm sure. Lots of great races across lots of great disciplines at the moment. The climbs here, very, very tough. But Don, flying in the sprints, looking strong there. And these climbs suit a sprinter in a lot of ways, or should I say a ruler,
a punchy
puncher
rider.
or a ruler, rather than necessarily a pure sprinter.
Yeah, they do indeed, and it's really interesting to see that whilst Category 2 race are coming to the top of the Quarter Kia, the Category 4 race, well, they are much further down the road. They're coming to the top of the Valkenburg mat, first used, or should I say last used, in the Tour of Flanders in 1996.
Oh, I remember it well. Show my age there. Just go back to Category 4 rather than the dim and distant history, though. Luke Allport,
I told you
sprinter,
he'd be in it.
He's right up there. And we talk about somebody who's a power sprinter, somebody who is a ruler, a puncher.
Yep.
Luke Allport fits in that profile,
doesn't
he?
He's
not a pure sprinter. He's not a rider who is a pure climber. He's got a bit of everything.
He's a great lead-out man, and we often see him leading out other riders for the
Eric
sprints.
Yep.
But this type of course, and this is why I said this type of course would suit him. I know I nailed my colours to the mast very, very early, naming Allport and Neville Ross as two of the riders who would ride really well today on this course. But they are both of a similar type. You know, they both have that ability to push and punch and ride really hard for shorter. I say shorter lengths. Pushing a great power out for 1.3 kilometers is still a really hard effort, but it's not a 13k climb, and that's what we're talking about.
So as we make our way along, the riders make the way through, hopefully going to recover from those efforts because they are so short, and then be able to repeat. That repeatability is one of the key things that's starting to separate the esports athletes from multi-discipline athletes. So the people who specialize in esports, who are really focused on that, the ability to race for the time period that we see on MyWhoosh, which is that hour to hour and a half marker, the ability to put repeated deep, very, very strong efforts in and recover, it is becoming more specific. You wouldn't expect, for example, a track sprinter to have the same power profile or abilities as a road racer on a World Tour circuit, because one's race is much shorter than the other, and it's got a different type of racing. And that's exactly what we see here.
And the training is different as well.
Yeah, you know, if you're a rider who's wanting to go excel, I mean, you're talking about Brazil, MyWhoosh Brazil. I mean, at the moment, we've got the World Cup mountain by XCO and XCC in Brazil. Amazing job, guys. Enrique Avicini, brilliant. Sir, you have done an amazing job of inspiring people in Brazil. But the training you do for that, we know the riders on the circuit there very, very well. Emma's coached them, actually, some of the riders there on the World Cup circuit. Emma's looking very embarrassed about her coaching, but it's true.
I was thinking, yes, maybe when they were teenagers.
Yes, well, some of them are still almost teenagers, but you lay those foundations. Those riders have a very different training to the guys we're seeing on the screen now, because it's a different type of racing, different skill set and different profile. And I think that repeatability, really, really interesting, really key. And that's something that we know Pablo Popovic can do, for example. We see that Johan Noren here. He's another rider, suits a big climb. However, it's not his speciality. I don't think I would ever call Johan Noren a pure climber.
No, I just think he's a great all-rounder, actually.
I do, yeah.
I mean, he was fourth.
Yeah.
He was fourth last week on the Jebel Yates. You cannot say he's not a great climber.
No, but it's not that he's a great climber. He's not a pure climber. They're different things. A pure climber and a great climber are different. Yes, he can climb, but he can do lots of other things as well. A pure climber only goes uphill well.
Well, Noren phenomenal esports athlete in this bunch at the front of this Category 1 race at 9.3 kilometres now into this 45-kilometre race. They're coming to the top of the first climb. It's the longest climb in this race in Belgium today, 3.9 kilometres with an average gradient of 2.5%. But do not let that deceive you, because there's a descent into the dip before a second part to the climb, and the steepest section, 17% now. Mikel Plantero also in the mix at the moment towards the back of the group here, but he is in this leading group as this group of riders in this Category 1 race head towards the top. The polka dot banner just round the corner.
Now, quick question just coming in on the live feed at the moment. Is Michael Knudsen not riding today?
He is riding.
He is riding, but he was gapped early on. We saw a
Yes.
gap go early on. We've not seen him return. We will let you know if he makes it back into the group, but not in there. And Michael Knudsen not been on top form, has he?
Well, I think it's been variable, hasn't it? So Michael Knudsen had a period of illness through December, took him out of the racing and off the bike for some time, and then coming back from that can sometimes be quite difficult, particularly if it's viral. And also you do need to manage your return to high-level racing, part and parcel of that. So coming back in, he has indeed had a top 5 since then, but part and parcel of what his program of racing and training is like.
Yeah, we're going to see how that plays out. One indicator would be later on if we see him start to appear on the climbs or on the sprint segments coming through, chasing hard solo. He might then put in a really fast time. But of course, when you're on recovery, that is really important to follow your plan.
Absolutely, definitely, and not get carried away and push too hard too early. Now, I know Matt's laughing at me because I'm exactly like that. Having started my progress back from nearly 2 years off the bike due to illness, it is very slow and very hard, and when you are competitive, it's very difficult. Now, Van Elst...
That was said with feeling.
I'm moving over that very quickly. Now, Van Elst at the top, coming through with the fastest time on the quarter-kier. Kaminsky in 2, Vujassin in 3, Nair in 4, Plantero in 5, Jones, Safrazadi, Talbot, Van den Eekhout and Panizza rounding out the top 10 times on the quarter-kier. The Thyssen-Hoven-Molen sprint is in between the quarter-kier and the Valkenburg climb, and that's where our Category 1 riders are heading.
I do love that name, the Thyssen-Hoven-Molen. It's windmill, basically.
Yes.
It's much easier in anglicised English than it is in Dutch. Although
it doesn't sound as good.
I do know somebody, our next door neighbour, in fact, in France, to the studios in France, who are over the road. He's actually Dutch. I may actually ask him the correct pronunciation of the Thyssen-Hoven-Molen sprint.
Okay, well, we will let Matt do that next time he sees his Dutch neighbour. But Mr. X100 at the moment is the rider pushing on at the front of this Category 1 race. They're on the descent, and he's not taking the opportunity for recovery. This is the time to push on, because the UAE clan team, well, they are at the front of this group. It's Vidal Mer who's doing the following side. Safrazat now picking it up, but they are riding nowhere near the pace of X100, who is utilising the whole road at the moment to push on. This pack now behind, coming and closing the gap. Safrazadi and Mer, Vujassin and Popovic, Panizza and Plantero, Van Elst and Daan, all coming up to X100's wheel.
So the pressure is on, and this is how you see the riders who are maybe suited to a longer climb accelerating and using the terrain. They're working really hard on the descent to make that effort longer and to suit their power profile more, rather than just attacking on the hills. They have to then work on the downhill, which may not be as effective, but it extends that effort that people have got to put in there. Now, this group, this leading group of riders, they're clear. The chasing pack behind, 36 seconds back to the distance. Category 1 riders already as we make our way through. We're at 12.4 kilometres. We've got Ollie Jones on board along with Kaminsky, the Alpha Jaws squad at the moment. They have strength in depth. Will we see them being able to be right up in the mix? Will we see somebody different in there? Tatu Koistonen is a rider who, for me, I'm kind of expecting him to be able to jump on this group. He's up in front of this group. You've got Yuki's up there as well, but Koistonen, this for him, for me, is his chance. Jump on board, use that group, come through with that group. At the moment, one of the reasons it's easier, you can see how fast Category 1 are moving by the absence of white jerseys, of yellow jerseys on our screen.
Yes, so riding through as a group, smattered or scattered, should I say.
It's smattering,
A
scattered.
smattering of scattering from around 30th position down through the riders, but it's ease from Cat 3, second fastest time, 22.344 seconds. Dont from Cat 2, from the Wattage Wizards in second place. Londorno from Cat 4 in third place. So third Cat, second Cat, fourth Cat. Then it's a large group of Category 2 riders: Simmons, Kane, Gakes, Conde, Reese, Clays, and El Alami, rounding out the top 10 through the Tissenhoven-Molen sprint.
You see, Emma likes that phrase as much as I do. The Tissenhoven-Molen.
It feels quite nice when you say it, actually.
It's good.
People should practice.
It's a feel-good. It's a feel-good phrase.
It is a feel-good phrase.
Thank you very much, whoever on MyWhoosh chose it to name it the Tissenhoven-Molen Sprint. Give yourself a gold star.
Yes, well, the Valkenburg climb is the next thing facing our Category 1
When I'm riding,
riders.
that's definitely not a gold star.
Well,
it's hard.
No, it is indeed hard. So it is 1.3 kilometres in length with an average gradient of 4.3%. And it's the next climb that our Category 1 riders are going to see. They've got a descent on the run in at the moment, and they've got some way to go because at 14 kilometres, the Valkenburg comes in 4.3 kilometres up the road in front of them. And this pack rolling really strongly. We've got a couple of Category 2 riders in the mix there, but they are absolutely motoring at 65, 66, 67, 68 kilometres an hour at the moment. 15 riders in that leading group in Category 1.
Big group. My lucky number's 15.
How on earth did you work that out?
That's my lucky number.
Yeah.
I always seem to go well when I'm number 15 in a bike race. Number 15, I've always done a good ride when I've been that number. Number 15 has significance for when I was born as well. So there you go. My lucky number 15. And it's a good number of the group. Look at that. Compact group working well.
There we go. So,
good looking group.
Category 1 group rolling at 15 kilometres onto this course at the moment. At 18.2 kilometres with Imad Khan in the leading group of Category 2. We're in with Oviedo at 24.2 kilometres in Category 3. And Adriana Zanaska is the man on the bike in the front of that group in Category 4. They are coming up for the 27-kilometre mark, which is going to be the Eichenberg climb.
Now, the Eichenberg climb, it is one of two Eichenbergs. You've got the Eichenberg Hill, then the Eichenberg climb, if you cast your mind back to that course profile. There was the Eichenberg Hill, which is the uncategorized climb, almost identical to the Eichenberg climb and the hill. They're basically very similar, but this is the run down between the two. So you drop down, you have very little transfer time, carry the momentum through now, and it will propel you up. We've got Adriano Zanaska, the ride that we just saw on the bottom right-hand side of our screen window open in Italy, making the way on to the climb. Though this group are surrounded, and at the moment it looks to me like they're going to come on to the pack together. Now, this is the third from last set of climbs. If you were Adriano now, you're in this group, Emma, what would you be doing with your effort? You know that at the end of the Eichenberg climb, there's a long run across. Would you just basically want to keep that pack together and stay in the group?
Yes. Absolutely, I'd want to be sat in the group and I'd want to stay in the group. But it does depend on what happens at the front of the pack. Now, Kalangad was at the front of that group. He's now back in the pack, and the pack is motoring really strongly. I mean, look at that. What have we got? 16, 17 riders easily in that front group in Category 4 at the moment. Now, I think they're all going to want to be looking at, well, not that want to be looking, but I think they are all going to be looking at each other because, as you say, Matt, there is a long transfer between 29 kilometres and 36.6, which is the start of the Quermont climb. And following the Quermont, the Patenberg comes as a very traditional finish to the Tour of Flanders in real life and on the MyWhoosh platform. And those two are going to be absolutely instrumental. So for me, the strategy is stay in the group unless someone attacks and keep your powder dry until those two final climbs.
So the rider's on to the climb. Dadson in here at the moment. He's low. Interestingly, on the drops there. And that's an interesting technique because, of course, we're not climbing an actual hill in the pain cave. Their avatars are going skywards, but our riders are static. Now, this is where there's that disparity between the two. You can see that out the saddle here, the avatars, whereas the riders sitting down, and that's down on those drops. Very, very low. It's not going to have any aerodynamic advantage because it's not going anywhere. It's sat in the pain cave. But it does allow you to use different muscles, doesn't it? When you're using a different position on the bike when you move about.
Yes.
One word answer. Is the coffee worn out or something?
No.
The ice cream's worn off, clearly. Right, Miss X100 is on the move here. As monosyllabic Martin on the other side of the studio basically starts to take the mickey. I think the sugar's gone back in again. It's okay. So, Miss X100 on the move again. Now, coming in early, he's attacking. Look at this. Look where we are on this course profile coming into a climb. But he's attacking on the way into the climb.
It's strategic for him. It's strategic for him because he's given himself some sliding room. We've talked a lot about Mr. X100 and his phenomenal ability to set a pace, like a time trial pace, for a significant period of time and to close gaps or to ride very strongly on long, long climbs. So from X100, the attacking before the base of the climb, a superb strategy because it gives him that ability on a short, sharp climb to soak up the road, to be honest, that the fact that the riders behind may be more punchy than him, may be able to push a higher power, but he's given himself that room to ensure that he goes over the top with the group and doesn't get distanced. So X100, 2 seconds clear of Popovic. Popovic, a UAE clan teammate of X100. Mayer is the rider behind, leading the charge. Zach Nair in the mix. Van Elst, Ollie Jones, Johan Noren, Mikhail Kaminski, Michael Platero, all in there. Bart Van and Eekhout is there as well. You know, it's like I could be reading the start list at the World Champs.
Maybe you are reading the start list at the World Champs. We will have to wait to find out. Remember, the World Champs in October. Interesting move there by Pablo Popovic. I kind of on the way through as you were saying that, because he basically did the same kind of tactic, chasing, going hard into that climb to extend the effort. Because if people don't chase, the only person's effort that you're extending is your own. If people are chasing, you're making everybody else do that. And by having two riders at the front going down, you really are causing people to react and put that effort in early. Category 1 making the way up here, 18.8k underneath their wheels. We top out at 19.6k here on the Valkenburg. Category 1 setting off last from the pens. They're going to be up on to the top. The leaders will be the last of our leaders up to the top of the Valkenburg. And then remember, we dropped down quite quickly into the Eichenberg Hill. A very quick transfer to the Eichenberg climb. And then we have another long 6k run across before we get into the Quermont and onto the Paterberg to finish. The top of this climb, though, Emma, it levels off. And then we go across through the middle of the lake here on the Valkenburg. There is time to get back in if you do get distance, but it's going to be a big effort. So staying in is going to be critical here.
Completely staying in this pack, absolutely crucial. You do not want to leave a gap, and it's short, it's sharp. You need to push and you just need to dig, because that is the banner signifying the top of the climb. They're going to transition across the lake at the top, and then they're going to descend off the other side. There's a flat run in to the Eichenberg Hill, which comes at 24.2 kilometers. The Eichenberg climb then comes at 27.4. So those two climbs come in quick succession, and the riders need to stay in this bunch now to ensure that they are in the pack to do so. This category 1 pack, well, they are all together at the top. No one has been distanced on the Valkenburg climb. They are the last group of riders up and over the top, and they are the fastest group of riders up and over the top. And I can confirm 14 riders in that leading group in category 1. So the fastest time being set by Ricardo Panizza, Zach Nair in 2, David Dunn in 3, Vujasin, Van Elst, Mayer, Kaminski, Talbot, Plantero, and Van den Eekhout rounding out the top 10. But look at the power there. They were consistent and they were strong.
And the time gaps were minimal.
Yep.
Half a second covering the group. Really, really, really close racing here on the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club. For our leading group of Category 1 riders over the top together, this is going to mean that they're going to have to make decisive moves if they want it not to come to a sprint finish. They're going to have to do that in the second half of this 45-kilometre race.
Well, for our riders new to the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club, welcome on board. You will notice that our Category 4 riders were the first riders out of the start pen today, 5 minutes before the Category 3 riders, 10 minutes before the Category 2 riders, and then a further 5 minutes back to Category 1. So 20 minutes separating our first group of riders out of the start pen Category 4 to our Category 1 riders. And at some point on the course today, it is likely that we see those categories come together. Well, we are watching at the moment Category 3, the blue jersey race field. They are going up at 29 kilometres into the race. They're at the top of the Eichenberg climb. They've got the run into the Quermont and the Pattenberg to do, and it's a big, big group of riders here. We're in with Andrea Monella at the moment as he wipes his brow, and so he should, because he's right at the front of this Category 3 pack. They've got 23 Category 4 riders in front of them, and it's Jack Staples and David Goodall leading it out at the moment.
Really interesting to see the amount of effort being put into stay in that group. I was minorly distracted by the volume of bike helmets racked up in a row in the mirror there. It did look very similar to a rack that we have in our studios here. A massive group. Emma, how many in this group do you think?
20 riders.
How many? You sure you haven't miscounted it?
No, 20 riders in
Wow.
the Category 3 group going over the top of that climb together. It's a huge group. Now, we said there was strength and depth in the Category 3 race field. We said out of the last 2 qualifiers, there had been 10 different riders taking the 10 top spots over those 2 qualification rounds, and that the strength and depth of Category 3 was phenomenal, and that is playing out today in Belgium.
It certainly is. We're going to have to go back to our Category 3 in a moment because the attacks are on Michael Kaminsky, one of the real big guns, firing off the front here. Popovic going with him. Mares up there. Noran Planter are there having to answer this. This is a long, flat run across. 22.4 is halfway, basically, down this race route. They're about to hit that now. So halfway down the race route, they're on the transfer between the Valkenberg and the Eichenberg. And it is pancake flat. And yet we are starting to see this string out. They were closer together on the climbs, on the early stages, but now the pressure has come on. It eases off and they come back together. But people are starting to get twitchy. They're starting to kick in now.
There's 14 riders in that leading group at the moment at 22.8.
It's a big gamble, isn't it?
It's a huge race field. But look at it. It is being played out in every single category. So 14 riders in the leading group in Category 1, 20 riders in the leading group in Category 3. Are you counting how many in the leading group in Category 2 at the moment, Matt? Because that's a big group as well.
No, I've run out of fingers and toes.
Category 4, 11 riders still in the mix. And well, they're at 33.3 kilometres into this 45-kilometre race. And there's still 11 of them there.
It's huge race fields at the moment across all of our race categories, relatively, in part because we've got no one big climb. We've got lots of little climbs, but they all take the toll. And it's that cumulative effect. It's that crescendo that it builds to as we go up our final climb of the Pattenberg climb and then into that sprint finish. Now, I'm going to just take a quick opportunity just to do a little bit of a plug. At the end of the show, we will be updating the links on our social media links, which are to the overall classification. Now, this is an unofficial classification, but I'm just going to highlight Category 1 here at the moment because they're just on the left-hand side of our screen. Lionel Vujasic is leading that after 2 races. He has a gap ahead of Michael Kaminsky. Kaminsky's in second, Safrazetti in third, Ollie Jones in fourth, Michael Plantero in fifth, and Mr. X100 is sixth overall in that unofficial general classification. Emma, What do you think the gap is between Lionel Vujassin and Michael Kaminsky at the end of 2 races when you add up their times? No cheating and looking at your notes.
I think.
Can you hear the cogs whirring?
28 seconds.
Less.
17.
9.
Oh, it's
So
close, it's close, it's close.
Races, the cumulative time at the moment, the general classification, Lionel Vujassin's at 2 hours, 27
Now, that's
minutes,
interesting
43
because
seconds.
Vujassin has had a second and a first.
Yep.
Kaminsky's had a fifth and a second.
But the time gaps are minimal because
and
of their results.
And this is where that's interesting. Now, Jonas Bjarhed in the pain cave at the moment. He's seriously focusing as he's in the front of this leading group in the Category 2 race. And that's the polka dot banner of the Eichenberg climb. They are about to come on to the slopes of that climb at 27.4 kilometers. Now, at 1.6k, it's got an average gradient of 4.3%, so it's got some kick.
It has got some kick, and Jonas Bjarhed needs to stay in this group. He will want to hold on to what is his 4th position overall in the general classification. We add it up all the way through to and including the finals. So it's unofficial. You'll get links on @biking_Emma and @MattFixThePain. Please give us a follow on there. Every follow helps. And of course, you can get the links across to the men's and women's. We'll be updating them after the show. Give us 5 minutes to eat some ice cream and coffee. In my case, I'm not sure Emma's allowed any more after the volume she's already had. One man who needs some ice cream, definitely not so sure about the coffee, is Julian Quintero. He's absolutely cooking at the moment. You can see that it is roastingly hot there at the moment. He's got his MyWhoosh jersey on at the moment. You can see he's warm. It looks muggy. He's absolutely flying at the moment, though. And he's right in this pack. You can just see as they go into this, as the pace picks up, he gets out the saddle. He's really ramping it up. Brilliant to see that insight.
Yeah, it is indeed. The pace is picking up, but this group is so large, and the quality of this race field: Gates, Kane, Spratt, Waterman, Dakowitz, Bjarhed, Quintero, Kane, all in here. Largo is in here. This is just phenomenal racing. And you can see on the bottom left-hand corner of your screen, this group of Category 2 riders. And not far back down the road, there's another large group of Category 2 riders. So this is really, really interesting stuff. That chase group, well, 30 seconds, it's looking like 27 seconds to the front of it, 37 seconds to the back. So that's the distance between the two big groups of Category 2 riders on the road.
They're both on the climb, and this is a relatively consistent gradient climb. So that is going to really show as we go over the top. Personally, I can't see that second group coming back because of the speed, the pace being put in this group. We're in with Simon Walter at the moment, just taking a look across. Currently got, I think that's the MyWhoosh jersey on, the German national jersey in the background, flying at the moment. Simon Walter out of the saddle, stamping on those pedals, really kicking that round. You can just see focused at the moment on what's going on in front of him, and that is really, really key. You cannot let these gaps go now. If your distance, we may be approaching the summit. The top of this climb comes at 29 kilometers. That's 400 meters away. However, if the gap goes now, you're going to struggle to get it back. You need to stay in the group. They're just about to catch one of our Category 3 riders, but look at the pace of Category 2 leaders.
Oh, they need to push. They need to push. They need to push. Those riders who are getting distance off the front of that group really need to push now. They need to squeeze that power out on those pedals because they do not want to go now. This is going to drop really, really quickly on the other side of the Eichenberg climb, and then it's a long run to the Quermont. This is not the time to get distance from that group.
This is where that accumulation of the Kulturkehr running down through the Thistelhoven Molen sprint, through the Valkenberg, over the Eichenberg climb, and then making your way up into this long flat section is going to really take its toll. Over the Eichenberg climb, Bengston flying over there. 3-minute 10 effort to get over the top of the climb. And Dakowitz absolutely flying over the top. We've got Todd Allen Young in here as well. You can see Todd out of the saddle there. Fans going, and he's really kicking. He doesn't want to get dropped from this group. He's having to work on this descent because he's at the back of the group.
20 riders in this leading group now in category 2. And that is the split. It was a bigger group going into the base of the climb. So 20 riders coming up and over the top. Now category 1 at 27.4 kilometers are coming into the base of that Eichenberg climb. They are absolutely motoring. David Dahn, Johan Noren, Penitza Mare, Jones, Van Elst, Kaminski, Tolbert. And the gaps now, I'm just taking a look. X100 on the back of the group, just getting distanced here. They've gone up and over the Eichenberg hill. They're moving on to the Eichenberg climb. X100 pushing at the power he knows he's comfortable with. Kochikov, the category 2 rider, is the rider behind. And that category 1 pack, well, I think that's 13 riders going up the climb away from X100 at the moment. Tolbert is the next rider in danger.
He's in danger. He's just been dropped off the back here. He's coming back towards Mr. X100. David Tolbert, I think Tolbert's legs have gone. He can't stay with the pace being set on the front, but he could have help here if he can go with Mr. X100. And Mr. X100 comes on here. The speed we're traveling, we're still doing 25 kilometers an hour here on this climb with David Tolbert. He's being caught by Mr. X100, who is traveling faster, nearer to that 30 kilometer an hour mark. Tolbert now needs to kick, jump on board, get in with the rider in front, and you can just see he's out of the saddle here. He's putting in a kick. He's gone from 4.5 watts per kilo up to nearly 6 watts per kilo to get on the wheels. Sit on Mr. X100 here. You have got one of the best pacing riders in the bunch to take you up and over the top here. If you want the best chance of getting with that group, if you're with one rider, that's Mr. X100. That's where he's at. 12 seconds is that gap. It's big. It's not insurmountable because remember, as we go up over the top and down into that descent, that front group may well hesitate where these two have one mission. Chase.
Well, keep pushing, keep pushing, keep pushing. And X100 and Talbot now with work to do. They are 13 seconds back off the Chase group, but at 28.3 kilometers into the race, now is the time that Kaminski kicks. Kaminski has gone into the middle of the road and off he goes. It's Ollie Jones's teammate in 2. Zach Nair putting some power down in 3. Vujasin is there as well as Van Elst. And take a look at that. Kaminski is on the screen. The jacket is flapping. The fan is going because Kaminski's at 11.1 watts per kilo. Vujasin, his teammate, is in 2. Van Elst in 3. They're flying past category 3 rider Gutierrez on this climb at the moment. And that's the polka dot banner at the top. He does not want to take the 14 riders who went into the base of the Eichenberg over the top. He wants to whittle this down. I think Kaminski would like 5 or 6 riders going into the Quermont, not 14. I don't think he's going to be that lucky. I think he's going to take 10 or 12 riders with him. This may well have been an attack, but I don't think it was decisive.
Yeah, it's not going to be decisive on there, but it might be decisive for 1 or 2 riders at the back. People like David Tolbert, Mr. X100 getting on the back. Kaminski's time ahead of Vujasin. It's a third of a second separating them. It's over a second back to Nair, but it's 2 coalition individual riders at the front, Kaminski and Vujasin, and that shows just how strong that squad is.
Well, 12 riders going over the top in category 1 together. Will the push from Kaminski continue on the descent to break the group? When we drop back in with them, we will be able to find out. Look at the stretch on it. He's continuing to push on the descent, now on the flatlands and still pushing. So the pace now just coming off a little bit as Vujasin and Popovic. Jones is there within 1 second. Those 3 riders all on the same squad, all knowing when that attack is coming because they are talking. But Safra Zaidi, Mare, Penitza just 1 second back. And I think we're going to see riders drip, drip, drip back onto this group. It's going to be interesting to see how many it becomes. But I don't think we are going to have done any permanent damage yet.
Big statement.
To those 12 riders in that leading group.
Okay. It depends on your definition of permanent. I think there's been some serious damage being done to the riders' legs, chasing on there, and the effort they've had to put in to close down Vujasin and Kaminsky, because you could not let those two go clear in any way, shape, or form if you want to be in the hunt for top spot here today. Going to leave our Category 1 riders for a moment, go over to Category 3 and Category 4 as they are making the way up and on to the climb. Now, the Quermont climb, it is a brute of a climb, 2.2k long, average gradient at 4.2%, but like all these Belgian climbs, it doesn't tell the whole story. It's about the kicks, it's about those rises. Category 4. At the moment, they are coming into the 40-kilometre marker. At the moment, you can just see 38.2 for Category 3. This is going to be very interesting as they come down.
So 11 riders in the leading group in Category 4 with 4.8 kilometres to go. At 31.4 kilometres into the race, we've still got a big group of Category 1, a large group of Category 2, 20 at the last count, and they are motoring 20 riders in Category 3 as well.
So there are your 4 groups on course. They're at varying points. Emma's just told you where they are. Keep that in your mind because we're heading straight over to the course profile to show you exactly what that means in terms of what is left. You're looking at the right-hand side of your screen, and our rider's going to make his way over there, over the Kortekeer, over the top of the Thistlehoven Molen, over the Eichenberg Hill and Climb, over the top of the Quermont. Now, the riders are approaching the Quermont in the categories 3, 2 and 1. That long run in, you go into the Quermont, you drop down, you've got that step descent, then you've got the Papenburg climb. That comes in at 42.9k.
Take a look. 400 metres, 11.7%. It's like a wall.
It is such a wall that when you go onto the flat, your recovery on there is very difficult to do. And then you can see that we have the run-in. It's a rise to the finish now. For those of you that remember it, you'll know and you'll remember that curving up and round, coming in through to the gates of Ghent City, and then going in through the gates. That last rise can be the final straw that breaks camel's back because of the Papenburg wall, because you've got the climb up the Quermont. So this last part of the course is absolutely key as to how you ride as we come in through around the outskirts of the city. At the moment, Johan Noren on the front of a big group of Category 1 riders making the way in and round at the moment. This is a who's who of cycle sport. Here we have Johan Noren, Ricardo Panizza in here. We have Said Safrazadi in the mix. Ollie Jones is in here. And now Safrazadi is the one who is on the move. He's kicking on here. He wants this to go long. He doesn't want to leave this to that last brutal acceleration. And he has gone at 10 watts per kilo. So Said going very hard here. He's looking to open a gap and maybe take away one or two other riders to make this more manageable. The ones he doesn't want, Kaminsky and Vujasin at the moment, or pretty much anyone in the Alpha Jaw team.
Yeah, well, Safrazadi pushing on here. Now, just taking a little look at some Strava times. The Quermat, Vanderpool, 4 minutes 9 seconds. Pidcock 4:11. Obviously, that's in real life on the real Quermont, not in the Belgium ride race on the Sunday Race Club that we're on at the moment, but it gives you some idea. The Papenburg in real life. Now, one of my favourite, Sam Gay's mountain bike short track world champion.
Yeah. Emma's crushes.
45 seconds in real life up the Papenburg.
How many?
933 watts.
That is some going. And if you've not watched the very first round of the mountain bike XCC, we're not going to give you any spoilers to tell you where it finished, but very, very interesting. If you can watch the after race interview,
even more interesting.
Yeah, do have a watch. You got to say well done to, I think it was Bart Bretchens and Kate Mason, who we know well, who were doing that interview. The guys
got to be one of the best cycling interviews.
Give it a watch. Really, really insightful. Really
Come
great
on,
action.
Luke Oldport.
Now, speaking
on.
of people that Emma has clearly got a crush on, here is Luke Allport. We all have our rider crushes. I've got one on Luke Allport.
Just
I can
because
admit
I
it.
called him at the start, and
He is
he is
absolutely brilliant.
performing phenomenally. So
He's on form, isn't he?
So Allport pushing on in
Oh,
category
look at the
4.
face.
He's at 15% under his wheel at the moment. He's up and out of the saddle and working hard. He is determined to get to the top. He's got Valencia and Pino. Neville Ross, my other call, part and parcel of the top of that category 4 group. Dadson is there, Arago is there. These riders digging in so hard. Some respite about to come because they're about to hit the top of the climb. Come on, this is a cracking category 4 race.
Big kick there, big push. You saw the effort written all over the face of Luke Allport as he threw the bike around in that pain game, coming up to the top. It's going to be Pino who leads them through. He's going to have the fastest time up over the climb there. Valencia is in here. Neville Ross is in here. Winfield, Allport, Connell just about in here. They're going to do a little bit of a regroup here, but you need to keep pushing. There's no point putting in that work on the Patterberg to just let everybody else ride up nice and easy. Absolutely wasting time. You've got to go hard and go now, but not put too much effort in. Category 4 leaders heading in. We have got 1.5 kilometers for them to go. Behind, on the run into that climb, are Category 3 leaders there on the left-hand side of the screen. 2 absorbing races at the moment. Now, for me, big danger man in here is Daniel Valencia in category 4. He's got a phenomenal sprint. They're going to go round the right-hand turn. We've got the riser coming up. We go left of them, go into that finish in category 4, and it's a long run in here. Often it's he who jumps first fades first, not he who jumps first
That's
wins.
true.
So we're going to see that in category 4 very shortly. Keep your eyes on the left-hand side of your screen. This is the run into the Patterberg. We're about to hit the climb here. Going to be a tough climb. The attacks are going to come. We'll catch up with that in a moment because we're coming into the last kilometre here. This is that long run round. There are 8 riders by my reckoning on the way round. If it's wrong, I counted them. If it's right, Emma counted them. Making the way in round this right-hand turn. There's a reason Emma does the numbers and she's the professor of the two of us.
I think most people can count to 8, Matt.
Well, I'm not most people. So our riders on the way in. Right-hand turn coming up. Start of the climb coming. This is the run for the finish. We're watching out for the riders. Remember, Valencia is in that green skin suit at the moment. Winfield leading this out. Neville Ross, I think it is just on the back. But now we start to see the kick coming. It's being led by Pino in the red with the white helmet on here. But he's gone early. We're now at 500 meters to go. Pino continuing to kick over the top at 7 watts per kilo. We're going to see a response, but who has got something left? We're going to see that kick come. You've got to get the timing right. You're looking for the gateway. You're looking to go underneath that portcullis. You're looking to go beneath the castellations as you come in and through the Basilica area. You make your way in through. This is really key now. Pino continues to push. He's got seconds in hand at the moment. Have they left it too late? They're not going to. Neville Ross comes up in that yellow, white and black helmet. He's kicked first at 8 watts per kilo. He's starting to drop, but he kicks again up to 8.5. Pino is coming behind. Arago's coming at 11 watts per kilo. Has he left it too late? I think he has. Andrew Neville Ross takes it. He's your race winner on qualifier number 3 as the rest of the riders come through en masse behind. What a charge for the line. What a win. Andrew Neville Ross takes it.
Well, I'm not going to say anything, but Neville Ross and Luke Allport, my 2 calls at the beginning of this race, first and third, separated by Arago. It's a phenomenal set of racing. I'll tell you something, 1.1 seconds separating the top 6 riders in that category 4 race. Neville Ross, Arago, Allport, Valencia, Dadson and Winfield. Phenomenal racing. Matteo Pino coming in 7th place, sub 2 seconds off the winning time.
So now we move over from category 4 to category 3. Category 3 in the last 800 meters. Now they've just seen what the terrain holds for the riders. We've seen how it is so important to get your timing right. Get the kick right at the right time. who's going to be doing. Neville Ross into the finish. We're on to the climb at the moment. They are all together. Watch out for David Goodall in the skin suit of the polka dot climbing master at the moment. He's on the way through. He's kicked early. He's gone early. He may be more confident that he can use his skills here on the ascent to more effect and get more time gap. But behind, Caligula is coming. He's digging in deep, but he's going to get Squilari and Staples coming up on his shoulder. Goodall has gap 2 seconds. We know that's not necessarily enough at this stage. Goodall has to now kick again, and he needs to keep pushing to stay clear. The chase is on behind him. Goodall is holding them, and I think the race so far has done so much damage. They're not going to be able to answer this because David Goodall has still got 2 seconds gap as they come in. Squilari is coming. Staples is coming. Kaiga is coming. They have no answer to Goodall. David Goodall takes the win here on the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club in Category 3. Fantastic ride by Goodall. He has the yellow skin suit to the polka dot skin suit.
Well, 2 seconds there separating Goodall from Squilari, Staples, Caligula, Oviedo, Connell at 3 seconds as well. Great riding. 9 riders in that finishing group in Category 3.
So we've seen the finishes in Category 4 and Category 3. Remember, between 3 and 2 at the start, there was a 10-minute gap. There was a 5-minute gap between Categories 2 and 1. Now, those gaps will have come down. And in fact, at the moment, Category 2 are on the descent of the Quermont. The riders in Category 1 are on their way up there at 38.3. They have literally less than 500 meters to go on this, the penultimate climb. And Safed Sedi, who put in that attack, has been closed down. Kaminsky in the polka dot skin suit goes over past his left shoulder, but Safed Sedi has got an answer to him, and he kicks again. Now, this is going to be doing damage further back. You can see that there are gaps opening up behind. 5 seconds is the damage that's being done, and Kaminsky and Safed Sedi are going to go into this descent with a gap to Panizza, to Nair, to Plantero, to Van Elst and Co. This is a big group, Emma.
It is a big group indeed, and we saw 12 riders last time we were with Category 1. They're going to drop off the Quermont. It's a long run until they get to the Pattenberg. But what we've seen, Matt, is the importance of the last 400 metres and about your timing at the finish being absolutely crucial. Well, up the Quermont climb, it's Kaminsky who sets the fastest time, 3 minutes, 49 seconds. Nair in 2, Jones in 3, Panizza in 4, Mayer in 5, Van Elst in 6, Noren in 7, Plantero in 8, and Vujasin in 9. Now, I'm just going to do a double check, actually, and take a look and see how many we have in that leading group in Category 1. It's 10 riders. So 10 riders confirmed in that leading group. Safed and Kaminsky trying to stay off the front.
Let's see if they can stay clear. I don't think that is going to be possible with the firepower behind. Now, just taking a look through the riders who have been dropped off the back of the group, and it looks like there are a fair few big names not now in this group. The selections being made by these repeated hills on the way through. This is the run down the Quermont at the moment here on MyWhoosh, UCI's exclusive partner, running from 2024 through 2025 and 2026. Really looking forward to our World Championships. Our selections for those being made by those nations, and you can see at the moment 2 of the riders who have been distanced, who we showed earlier on your screens at the moment. David Talbot and Mr. X100 chasing David down. They're just going over the top of the Quermont. They've not lost a huge amount of time, but they've lost enough to make this difficult to get back. They will continue to push. They will want to know where they are in the overall standings on that GC. Don't forget, those links will be updated, and we will get those out on the social media feeds. That's at Matt Fixpain and at biking_Emma as soon as we can. And hopefully it will mean that whether you're racing for first or 101st in the overall standings, you're going to be able to have somebody there that you know is your danger man as you go into our finals each week in the way through those times added up to give us the overall result at the end of the month.
This
Now,
category 1 pack are all together, Matt.
this is really, really interesting. It's come back together. We have got one more climb to go. Don't forget, of course, just in front, we have the Category 2 leaders as well. They are out on course. So Category 1 and Category 2 out on course. You can see Category 2 leaders on the right-hand side. They've just started the Paterberg climb. A critical moment here because this huge group are coming onto the climb, and surely they've got to start separating out some riders.
Well, you might say surely, but never make an assumption. 20 riders, and we said right at the start of the show, the quality in this Category 2 race field, the strength and depth that was here is phenomenal. And look at it, 20 riders in this leading group. They're on the final climb. It's 16% under their wheels, and there is not a lot separating the front end of this pack. In fact, look, that is the polka dot banner. We've got one rider distance off the back, and Bjarhead is not that rider. He is part and parcel of that leading group and wanting to stay there, because after this they have got an 1800-meter run into the finish. There's one more kicker to go, but a little bit of breathing space between now and then for them to regroup, think about what strategy they are going to use on the final stages of this race.
And they know it's going to come to a sprint. This strategy that they devised now has to survive. 18 other riders with the same intention go over the line first. Who's it going to be? Category 2 over the top of the Paterberg climb, up this wall of a finish run in before you do the last gasp sprint to the very finish of this 45-kilometer race. A little bit further back, Category 1 are about to turn the corner and go on to the climb, to climb out from the subterranean world and into the daylight. They're going to want to close down, but we're not far off hitting 1K to go. The speed is winding up. We're at 40 kilometers, 41 kilometers an hour, 42 at the moment, so 25 miles an hour or so for the riders in Category 2, but they're going to wind it right up because they know they do not want to go. Now, if you are a rider who likes a longer sprint coming in at a faster pace, you're going to want this to be quicker. If you've got teammates, you're going to be calling for the pace to pick up. If you have a good snap, a great kick, if you can suddenly throw down thousands of watts, you need this to go in slow, and then you need to utilize it at the right time. A longer running at higher pace will not suit those riders who've got that big power, that strength to put a kick. First attack goes right-hand side of the course. It's a big move as they power on down here, and we've got one rider just starting to go away, to go clear up at the front, and it is Ruben Don, the green and polka dot skin-suited rider. On his heels, Simon Walter has responded. He's having to do nearly 11 watts per kilo to even get close at the moment to Don, but we know Don can sprint. He's proven it time and time again. He's got another kick. He kicked at another 11 watts per kilo. Don has got a gap. It's 2 seconds. It's a 2-second run here for everybody. We've seen riders caught. We've seen them not get caught. Can Don hold on? Benedetti starting to fade here as the riders behind coming. Quintero, maybe the rider with the most power left in his legs. Will he make it? Oh, no, he won't. It's Ruben Dunn. A clean sweep. Every single jersey, polka dot green and yellow. What a win in Category 2 for Ruben Dunn.
Well, Ruben Dunn, phenomenal finish there in the Category 2 race, and superb riding. Nicholas Spratt coming through the pack for second place. Quintero also getting timing right to take third.
So 3 categories done, 1 more to go is Category 1, the cream of the crop, the creme de la creme. They're on their way in. We are now approaching 1K to go to the Flamme Rouge, and we have seen Panizza being distanced on the climb of the Paterberg, but we have in here Zach Nair in the polka dot skin suit. He's going to be looking to lead this through. He'll be wanting to take away the win. His work is cut out because he has in here some very fast riders. Don't forget, we've also got in here Cam Winfield, who, although he's not in the run for the finish, I'm sure he will sprint with the rest. That man can't resist a good kick for the race line. but it's our Category 1 riders racing into the finish on the left-hand side of your screen. The chase is on behind with Mr. X100 and David Talbot, but there are 6 riders in contention now. The starts to get wound up, but they're starting lower here than we saw our Category 2. Now it starts to pick up as they come in. They're going to lead this late. This is going to be a close call. You've got Jones in there, I think in the blue cap on the right-hand side it is. So Jones at the moment currently just pushing on at the front of this group, starting to pick the pace up. Zachner in the polka dot. Kaminsky's still waiting. We're still seeing Safrazedi waiting. Vujasin is waiting. This is going to come down to who gets the timing right. Jones continues to push on. He's got Nair on his heels. Nair goes over the shoulder. They are absolutely glued together. They're locked together, matching each other pedal stroke for pedal stroke. Jones starts to wind up on the front here. Nair's trying to come over the top of him. Nair's going to take the draft. He's going to hold the draft. He takes the win here. Zach Nair takes the win here in MyWhoosh on the qualifier number 3. Nair taking the win in the final few pedal strokes. What a run for the line.
Wow, wow, wow. Zach Nair taking the win in Category 1, 1 hour, 3 minutes and 26 seconds. Ollie Jones, 0.1 of a second behind. Kaminsky, 0.3 of a second behind. Vujasin, 0.4 of a second behind. Safrazedi, 1.3 seconds behind. Van Elst at 3.5. Vidal Mer, 9.9. Then Panizza in 8th, 22 seconds back. Noren in 9th, 27 seconds back. Plantero in 10th place, 34 seconds back. What a finish in Category 1. Fantastic racing in every single category today.
Some brilliant racing, and now this is the pursuit in. We saw it earlier on. David Talbot jumping onto the wheels, Mr. X100, because he was the man to sit with to come back in. They're not that far behind. They're closing down on Van den Eekhout and Popovic, who are just making the way in to the line here. But this is their run in to the finish. Really, really key here to make sure they get this right. Popovic is going to be our next rider to go in underneath the line here. I think he's got a little bit of a gap on Eekhout here, but at the moment, this is the kick. And he'll be thinking what could have been if he wasn't dropped. We know he's got a fast finish. He's managed to dispatch Van Eykenberg in the run-in. He's going to continue to kick here. Popovic from Brazil making his way in towards the finish here on qualifier number 3. He's ahead of Mr. X100, who will be chasing all the way into the line. But Pablo Popovic, our next finish here in Category 1.
So Popovic coming under the line to round out the ride here. Popovic coming through in 11th place. As we just take a look now, X100 coming underneath the gates. Talbot is still on his wheel. Great job from Talbot to stay with him, but X100 is going to push on to that UCI banner. Nicholas Van Horen, the Category 2 rider, going under the banner first. X100, then Talbot, and then a group of Category 2 riders. So just to confirm, taking a look at the results in front of us at the moment, Zach Nair taking the win in that sprint in Category 1, getting his timing to perfection. Van Elst, Mer, Panizza, Noren, Plantero, Popovic, Van den Eekhout, X100, all going through there. David Talbot finishing in 14th. That's the top 14 riders through in Category 1.
So great racing here on qualifier number 3. So fantastically for our finals with that team race coming up. The riders will be battling it out on a great course. You'll have to watch back the women's show for Emma's and my predictions of what we would like it to be for the finals. But we, like you, are going to have to wait to find out if that is correct, like our riders are. And they're going to have to get ready for an incredible battle. Emma, we're going to be heading out and over. It's been great racing here today. Fantastic sprint finishes. Belgium never disappoints.
Oh, never. One of my favourite race courses because it is always so close.
So it's not long until we get into those finals. That we'll be back here on Sunday. We will be actually on air in between with the XCE, another of the
Barcelona.
UCI World Cups from Barcelona. So please do have a watch on the City Mountain Bike YouTube channel if you want to keep up with Emma and myself. Make sure that you keep up with everything on MyWhoosh at MyWhoosh across social media. And we look forward to you joining us. Please do hit subscribe. Tell your friends about the show. We love to see you and catch you on what you're up to. But from Emma and myself, it's time to say stay safe. We'll see you again soon. Goodbye.
Goodbye.